Hello out there, casual fanatics, and welcome to another episode of Selenon Rising. In the last episode, we uncovered a murder in the suburbs of University Professor Al Grange and did our Phoenix Wright thing on his daughter Lynn. And we've discovered that he was working with the rebels, and it is very likely a rebel that murdered him. So, now we're going to continue this episode and try and figure out what's going on and see if we can help Lynn get some closure into what happened to her life, to her father. The enforcers are still milling around, though some of them have left. Fantastic. We know that Mr. Grange was desperate for money, but we still have no idea what he was trying to sell. Wrong. There's a piece of evidence that tells us exactly what he was doing. You mean? Okay, I'm thinking it's gotta be... The ledger seems to be too obvious. I'm thinking it's probably the calculations. I'm thinking there's gotta be some kind of weight about those calculations, some kind of significance. You mean the shredded papers that were in the trash? Exactly. What if what he was doing was right in front of us the whole time? So he was making all that money doing calculations? Bingo. I don't understand. What potential criminal would need such a thing? Well, calculations, math, engineering, technology, as in contraband technology? Then you aren't thinking hard enough. What are rebels usually interested in? Technology. Why do you... Oh. Exactly. All ancient tech has a computer inside, and computers are locked by passwords. So then you think they hired Grange to... He'd probably had the ability to decrypt some of the more advanced codes that your run-of-the-mill rebel would have no idea what to do with. Yeah, but can he crack an iPhone? Because I hear the FBI is really looking out for that. What if the person he was dealing with was Zala, or one of her cell members? You took the words right out of my mouth. I guess great minds think alike, eh? She's been very active in her search for ancient technology the past few months. But if they were using him for his skills, why kill him? Maybe he stopped being useful. Strange. Zala doesn't strike me as the type to just off someone without reason. Then again, the rebels aren't exactly the sanest bunch. Ah, stereotypes. Well, there's also the possibility that he wanted out. But what would make him panic so much that he had to be kept quiet? I'm not so sure I want to know. We arrive back at the car. We both get in, and Blue pulls the car away from Mr. Grange's mansion. Okay, so why is he driving standing up? As I drive away, I wonder what could have been so important, and so terrible, that Mr. Grange had to be silenced. Permanently. It was such a bold move for the rebels. I glance sideways at Blue, and I can tell he's lost in his own stream of thoughts. What is he thinking about? I can read his emotions, but I don't know what's going on in his mind. Not really. I wonder what he actually thinks about Grange. His secret theory. I'm sure he has one. You don't get to be a senior agent without having an active investigative mind. Though he tries very hard to hide his, and I'm not sure why. Maybe one day I'll know him well enough to know what he's thinking about in situations like this. It's an odd thought. Another odd thought. What does he think about me? Late morning is ticking swiftly towards early afternoon. Blue and I decide to head to the Sector 2 precinct to see if we can get more information on Grange. A stout, sandy-colored building near the center of the dome. It is a hub of enforcer activity. I tend to avoid places like this when I can. Something about the faceless masses of the enforcers causes an emotional reaction in me. I haven't pinned it down exactly. Not fear or annoyance. Perhaps anxiety. Sometimes it's unavoidable, like today. We need to see if we can find a connection between Grange and Zarla or her flying monkeys. The fastest way to do that is through Central's files. Blue pulls the car up to the front of Central, and I feel, rather than see, a figure standing off to the side. I follow my mind with my eyes and see her carefully lounging against a wall in a dark passage between the two of the surrounding buildings. It's Zarla. No, wait, there's hostility, but it's different, more focused. Oh, Lord, not today. What, not excited to see your girlfriend? I didn't want to see her. Ever again. The intensity of his reaction is surprising. We both get out of the car. I didn't realize. Don't worry about it, Ace. Let's just go inside before she notices us. We start walking towards the steps of Central, but suddenly... Blue.
Blue, I always knew you were lazy, but I never thought you were blind, too. Not that I blame you. If I had this newbie as my partner, I probably wouldn't have the stones to face any of my fellow agents either.
The Distorter. Red. Blue, red, violet. I see what we're dealing with here. Well,
I would have the stones, but you certainly wouldn't. Is she housebroken yet?
rolling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3.
Beg pardon? Was my disdain not strong enough for you? I thought you could read people's minds. Oh, right. You can't even do that, can you? I don't understand why the Bureau thinks you're special. As far as I'm concerned, you're useless. What's an Asper gonna do? Feel me to death?
Red, leave her alone.
Defending your puppy, Blue? If I were you, I'd miss having a partner with some real power, not some parlor trick.
Violet is powerful enough, thank you very much. Why are you here, Red?
I have something that might interest you.
And what, pray tell, would that be?
Just a few photos I don't need. If you're trying to get back into my
good graces, it won't work. But thanks for the offer. Even if I couldn't feel the embarrassment and anger rock Red's mind, I should be able to see it on her face. Her snide grin turned into a snarl twisting the sides of her mouth, while her cheeks color ever so slightly. Defensively, she crosses her arms over her chest.
Fool, if I meant to flaunt my body, it would not be in front of her. Besides, I'm sure you remember it quite well already.
Ayo! Just hand it over. Red holds the pictures out to Blue, twitching back when he reaches out to grab them, taunting him, before placing them into his hands. Are these Grange? How the hell did you get these?
That's none of your beeswax.
That's bull. You randomly getting your hands on evidence pertaining to my investigation is very much my concern.
Too bad. Life can be disappointing, can it?
I'm not in the mood for beating around the bush crap.
I have my ways. You should know that by now.
Forget it. Just tell me who is this with Grange in the photo. Who's the rebel?
How should I know? What do you think I am, psychic?
Very funny. Are you telling me you didn't get them analyzed?
Doing the dirty work just isn't my style. I leave that for the puppies and the lazy old softies.
I didn't ask for your help, Red.
I could never pass up the opportunity to make you look bad.
No, you never could you?
You're welcome.
Stay out of my way, Red. Come on, Violet, we have work to do.
See you the next time I do your job.
Shut up, Red Trap. As I enter the precinct building, I feel like Red is still somewhere nearby, her eyes burning into the back of my head.
She's unpleasant.
Yep, that's Red. Come on, let's go find the captain. The waves of hostility that are rolling off of her are incredible. But at least I know she isn't corrupt. I'd hate to get on the bad side of someone like her. We're totally gonna get on the bad side of her, aren't we? Yeah.
I wonder why she was so dismissive towards me.
Is she usually this way, or was she just trying to throw me off?
She has to be hiding something.
Blue's eyes widen, his face going pale for some reason. What did you say?
Oh, sorry, just thinking out loud again.
Well, if you don't think it's important, I won't ask further. Sector 2 Precinct. I trek through the halls of the precinct, which are buzzing with the movement and chatter of enforcers. It smells like a mixture of sweat and some identifiable metallic odor, which could be guns. Or blood. I don't know which. When the crowd catches sight of me and Blue, it parts in front of us and quiets perceptibly. A few enforcers I catch staring at me quickly look away from my violet eyes. Something about our eye color makes people uneasy, even enforcers. At the end of the hallway, we step into a large utilitarian office and are stopped by an enforcer behind a gray metal desk.
What is your business here?
Agents Blue and Violet from the Bureau. We're here to see Captain Wells.
Very well, sir. One moment, please.
The enforcer walks quickly into a back room, while Blue and I are left standing in the front office. I glance around the room. The walls are sickly yellow, like skin that has not seen the sun for far too long. There are lines of portraits on the walls on either side of us. One side is labeled Our Fallen Heroes, and has rows and rows of small portraits of half-masked enforcers. The opposite wall has far fewer portraits, but they're larger and bear the banner Our Fearless Leaders. Must be the former captains of the enforcers. I look all the way to the right, up to the current captain. The portrait is of a large man, his shoulders square and hunched as though he's trying to bend over enough to fit inside the frame. The enforcer reappears and gestures for us to follow him. That is not a him. Well, I take that back. I should be fair. This enforcer may identify as male, so I shouldn't judge. It's possible they identify as male, and if so, I apologize for misgendering. We head into the back and enter a small, cluttered office. The man from the last portrait is seated behind a desk that looks ridiculous next to his huge frame. He stands as we enter.
Those are the agents, sir.
Thank you, Enforcer. His voice is gruff and cuts through the room like a bark. The Enforcer leaves the room. What's the matter, Blue? Got bored of your old partner? With all due respect, sir. Just yanking your chain. I know exactly why you left. Yeah, sure you do. So, who's the new well? Violet, I'm guessing. The name's Harold G. Wells, but that's Captain Wells to you. H.G. Wells.
The pleasure is all mine.
You training her, Blue? Trying, Captain. Well, it's a busy day. What's this all about? Sir, we're looking into the Grange murder. Yeah, heard about that. What's the Bureau want with Grange? Not quite sure yet. That's what we're looking into. We thought you'd be able to help us out. Any files you might have on Grange? Also, we just got some photos. Maybe you could have your analysts take a look? We haven't had a chance to run them by the Bureau's guys. Blue hands the photos to Wells. Wells stares at them for a moment, then shouts across the office, Enforcer! I jump slightly at the noise, and Blue's hand closes lightly on my wrist, his fingers pushing lightly into my skin. The enforcer re-enters the room. Take these photos down to analysis. Tell him I needed the results 5 minutes ago.
Yes, sir.
The enforcer leaves the room with the photos, and Blue's hand lets go of my wrist and moves away. I can still feel the ghost of his fingers on my flesh. They'll come up with something in a few minutes. Thank you. We appreciate the assistance. What are you thinking? I mean, who do you think that is in the photo with Grange? Alright, I'm not at liberty to say. We might have an idea. None of your beeswax. I'm not gonna roll this one.
Well, we've been bouncing around a few ideas.
Care to elaborate?
We think Grange might have been tangled up with the Resistance.
Particularly the cells run by Zarla. You know her? Of course. We've known increased activity in her cell recently. Us too. So we think the person in the photo with Grange could be Zarla herself, or one of her followers. Interesting theory. Silence descends on the room. The captain slowly sits back down in his seat behind the desk and gestures for us to sit in the chairs opposite. He shuffles papers around the desk as Blue and I sit, our hands accidentally brushing. I feel a wave of heat run through my body, starting at my hand. I look at Blue, turning my head slightly. Blue's eyes trace down the side of my face, briefly, before meeting mine in a small grin. The look is broken when the enforcer re-enters the room carrying a file and the photographs. He hands them to the captain and exits once more. She hands them to the captain and exits once more. There I go again! Captain Wells examines the file briefly. Well, it appears your theory was a good one. The man in the photos with Grange has been identified as a rebel named Sandman. We know he's one of Zarla's cronies. And we know he's very fond of taking Norn's hand and taking you off to Never Never Land. Legs in night! Wait, I got that reversed, sorry.
Sandman, the bringer of sweet dreams. Ironic. Hush, little baby. Don't say a word. And never mind the noise you heard.
More like creepy. But for some reason the name sounds familiar. That's so? Yeah. I think the Bureau has an open file on it.
So, Zarla is as good as guilty.
I wouldn't be so hasty. If memory serves, the file is partially focused on whether this guy's broken away from Zarla's cell. And add to the fact that this is an abnormally brazen attack, which is outside of Zarla's usual wheelhouse. No, it doesn't quite add up.
But, you were behind the theory just a minute ago. What changed?
Just a feeling. If the person had been Zarla in disguise, or one of her direct underlings, I might have been more convinced. But Sandman's been off the radar for a while. He and Zarla may have had a falling out. Besides, this attack in the dome is unlike her. She keeps to the outer city as much as possible, and only kills when absolutely necessary.
Do I need to remind you that she had a knife at my throat less than 24 hours ago?
Yeah, but she didn't actually use it, did she?
That doesn't matter.
Anything else you fellows might need? Right now, we need to talk to someone close to Zarla and figure out if Sandman is still one of hers.
A rebel we captured in the alley.
Great minds. That was my thought as well. Captain? One moment. The captain reaches for a phone on his desk, which was buried under so much paper that I didn't even know it was there. He dials, listens, and after a moment begins speaking. It's Captain Wells. I need to know where the rebel we captured yesterday is. Yeah, from the alley. Well then hurry it up, you idiot. Wells out. Wells slams down the phone before turning back to us. The rebel's still being interrogated by my enforcers. You'll need to wait a little while before we have the info you need. We'll get it out of him. Trust me. Very well. Thank you for your assistance, Captain. We don't have anything else for you. Come on, Violet. We stand and leave the room as the captain goes back to shuffling papers around his desk. Stepping out into the hall, we are again met with the parting of enforcers and waves of silence. The scent of iron that hangs in the air seems to have grown stronger in the short amount of time we were in the captain's office. We walk briskly down the hall and push outside into the afternoon light.
Did you smell that?
Yeah,
What was it?
blood.
Ooh, there was blood.
Once we get back into the car, we head west towards the edge of the dome. Blue is so caught up in thoughts, so I'm silent as well. He must be thinking about all the things we've learned so far today. Grange, Zarla, the Sandman. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Murder professor, like, make him never seen. If Grange was selling his decryption abilities, then why would they have killed him? Could it mean they got what they were after? Or could he have been selling something else? I stare out the window and watch the streets flash by. Wait, where are we going? Just as I open my mouth to speak, Blue answers my question by pulling in the car into the parking lot of a small restaurant. Come on, I'm buying you a drink.
A little early for a drink, isn't it?
We've already been to a murder scene, interrogated a witness, and dealt with Wells. I'd say that all merits a drink.
Well,
If it makes you feel any better, I'll buy you some lunch too. Make it seem more legit.
it's not exactly what I meant.
Come on, Vi.
Yeah, okay.
You know, if you just wanted a date with Violet, you could have asked. We walk into a small restaurant and it immediately turns to night around us. The small space is close, wood-paneled walls, and tightly drawn burgundy curtains that keep even the most brazen ray of light from penetrating its depths. Sit anywhere. I'll be right back. Blue wanders towards the bar, and I choose a booth in the corner, far from the windows and with a view of the rest of the room. View of the rest of the room. Wow, going Elmer Fudd on myself there. I like having my back to the wall. I can keep an eye on anyone moving around in my space. You know, I noticed that a lot of ex-military or policemen types tend to do that a lot. The table is rickety, and the small lamp adorning it shakes wildly when I sit down and accidentally bump the edge of the table. Press my palms against the cool tabletop to settle it. Tap my fingers lightly on the table, and my leg twitches up and down momentarily before I settle it with my hand. I look up and see Blue making his way over to the table with 2 drinks in his hand. Why am I nervous?
Because your toad's on a date, yo.
Here, smell from the barrel.
Thanks.
Blue nods and sits down, setting the lamp shaking again. Well, I don't suppose you figured all this out.
Should I have?
No. Just wishful thinking. Sometimes I think we'll never get to the bottom of all this. He gestures around him and then lays his hands next to his drink on the table. His eyelids look heavier than they did outside. He looks exhausted. For some reason, I feel sympathy sweep through me. These sudden emotional outbursts are getting more and more frequent. Before I know what I'm doing, I reach my hand across the table to lay it on top of his. Blue looks taken aback, but I can feel a sudden shot of happiness go through him. I'm stunned by my own unabashed gesture and quickly remove my hand.
Sorry.
No, it was nice. Thank you. My face feels warm, and I know a deep blush is creeping up my cheeks. This needs to stop. I clear my throat.
So, you don't think Sandman works for Zala anymore?
All business. No, I don't. Or at least that's my guess. There's an awkward pause. I look down at the drink in my hands and keep my eyes still as I feel Blue's eyes working their way across my face. Wish he would stop looking at me. Or keep looking, I'm not sure. Let out a frustrated sigh. Violet, may I ask you a question? The formality of his question surprises me.
I suppose so.
Obviously, you don't remember your life before you became an agent, just like everyone else, but do you have any, I don't know, feeling about why you joined the Bureau?
Why I joined?
Violet?
It's nothing. I'm fine.
So I'm guessing you drew a blank then.
I think so.
What's that supposed to mean?
I mean, no, I don't remember anything. Not even my first few weeks as an agent. Sometimes I feel like I just sprang up from the ground, fully formed as Violet with no other life.
It is a bit unusual to not even have a faint idea of why.
You?
Me? I always had the feeling that I wanted to be an agent because it seemed heroic. The powers, the secret identity, even from yourself. It was like being a superhero. But it's not like that, is it? I feel like I go around in circles and never get anywhere. From the rebels, to the enforcers, to the Bureau, to the Selenon, back to the rebels. It's never ending, and it doesn't seem to be doing any good. I don't think things are ever going to get better.
That was unexpected. Do you really think things are that bad?
I think there's a lot of bad bureaucracy in the Bureau. I think people like Red have too much power and not enough checks on that power. But mostly, I think we don't understand the most important question of our world, of our race's entire existence. What did we do to the Selenon that caused them to destroy so much of humanity?
What did we do? You think we did something?
Personally, I blame it on Harriet Jones, former Prime Minister. Yes, I know, you know who she is. Why else would they have killed so many of us?
I always figured they were just monsters. Do monsters need a reason?
You've never seen a Selenon before, have you?
No. No, I haven't.
Well, I have. Well, I don't think it's that simple. For hundreds of years, we've lived like prisoners because we are prisoners. But ask yourself, why do we lock people away? It's when they do something seen as unforgivable by society at large. Or, you know, if they're not the right ethnicity and they do something minuscule. When do we, as a species, kill when we've been wronged? So it follows that the Selenon are doing something similar.
My head is spinning. I've never considered the causes of the Selenon War. Only the repercussions. I don't understand why I should care.
Everyone should care. This is it, Vi. This is the question. We were created. Red, green, yellow, blue, violet. All of us to investigate. We're supposed to be searching for answers. So, wait a minute. What happened to Orange and Indigo? Let me guess. Orange was too greedy and Indigo was too compassionate, right?
Answers to the questions we're supposed to answer, not the ones we decide to answer.
You don't think it's your responsibility as an agent, as a human, One of the few remaining in our species to try and preserve and protect the remnants of humanity?
I mean, yes, I thought that's what we were... I thought we were doing that.
How? By maintaining the status quo? By just barely keeping the rebels in line?
But why? Why that question? What will finding the answer do?
I don't think anyone is beyond redemption. I don't think one side has to die to come to a solution.
I like Blue.
I stare at Blue, wide-eyed. He wants to become friends with the Selenon? Or allies? Or make up with them for some unknown misdeed that may not even exist? I don't know what to think, but I've never seen or felt him more engaged or more alive than he is in this moment. There's another pause. I look at him straight in the eye this time, and he looks straight back. This man is not who I thought he was. From his time as Red's partner, I would have guessed he was cruel and uncaring. I would have thought he would be lifeless, but this man is passionate.
You're not who I thought you would be.
Oh yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Oops. Sorry. Hit the wrong thing.
A good thing, I think.
Good. Suddenly his hand reaches across the table and grabs mine. He pulls it halfway across the table so that our hands are joined in the middle of the dimly lit surface. I feel shy, but I also need to ask him.
Blue?
Hmm?
Can I ask, what were you and Red, I don't know, a thing?
He laughs. A thing?
It's not funny. Yes, a thing.
Despite not being an empath, Blue seems to get the message. He straightens up in his chair and looks at me, his eyes serious. I can feel the suppressed amusement, but there's also a layer of genuine concern and seriousness. No, we weren't.
She seemed spurned.
Before you came onto the scene, Red was different. Not on the outside, but we always watched each other's backs. A few years back, she changed. She started becoming distant and only cared about training her powers. I asked her what was wrong. I wanted to help her. But she said I'd become too weak for her. She told me to file the paperwork and go solo. Be better that way.
That's unforgivable.
No, Vi. You don't get it. The Red I know would never say something like that. I know she just wanted to protect me. From what I can't fathom, but to make her act this way, it must be something huge.
Must have been a hard pill to swallow.
But that being said, I think if I'd asked, she would have said yes. An evil grin is starting to pull. A spread across his face. I start to pull his right hand away from his, but he holds on tighter.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Ace. I'm quite charming, in case you hadn't noticed.
I really hadn't.
Ouch.
Well, you asked.
A small grin has crept onto my face. I can't help it. Is that... No, it can't be. Is that a smile?
Stuff it, Blue.
But now, a full-fledged smile has made its way onto my face. It feels weird, but good. He is interrupted by the chirp of his transponder. He sighs, lets go of my hand, and pulls the transponder out of his pocket. Blue.
This is Mrs. Pierce speaking. You and Agent Violet are needed back at headquarters immediately.
A smile slips off my face as I'm dragged back into reality. What am I doing? I'm a bureau agent. We're both agents. We have things we should be doing. Right. We're on our way. We're already in the dome. Be there in 10.
Don't be any longer. The chief is asking for you.
Copy that. Blue out. Blue quickly puts the transponder back in his pocket and pushes himself up out of the small booth. I get up and follow him to the door, leaving our half-empty drinks sitting on the table. He stops just inside the heavy wooden door, and I nearly knock into him. What, did he forget how a door works? Just as I'm about to reach him, past him to open the door myself. Blue reaches out a hand and stops me. He puts his other hand under my chin, and I look up at him in the dark warmth of the restaurant. This isn't over, Vi. It's not over by a long shot. I can't think of anything to say. I nod. He releases my chin and pushes the door open into the dazzling sunlight of mid-afternoon. My eyes burn, and I stumble slightly into the parking lot. Jeez, kind of a lightweight, aren't you?
What? I'm not. I didn't even drink. It's the sun.
You're charming when you're flustered. Come on, let's go before the chief has a fit. Alright, so I'm going to save it here, save it in slot 2. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Selenon Rising. In the next episode, we're going to be continuing and trying to get a little further on and try to uncover this mystery. See you next time. Keep it casual, y'all.